We shall see. We'll wing it. Unless you want to do it. Not there yet?
No.
Oh, come on, Christian. What's up, everybody? We are back, Christian and myself, here to talk about some real estate market insights with the consumer price index coming back a little bit higher than what maybe we were anticipating this year. And certainly the highest that we've had since post-COVID, like 2023, when we start to see the CPI bouncing back. And I think even as we sit here in our chair, we're like, what does this mean for our rates? But stick with us and we'll kind of talk through some of these thoughts of what it's going to mean for buyers and sellers and really what's going to be happening as we move into the next phase post-Fed meeting in the end of June, middle of June, whatever.
I mean, do you really think anything's going to change right now?
What I know, and I'm not a financial expert, what I know is that with the consumer price index of inflation rate growing, that means that we will see a slight bump in mortgage rates. Slow down spend, slow down inflation.
Bump up?
Bump up.
Damn.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I hope somebody tells me that I'm wrong.
I thought it was the other way around.
Should
have gotten Ryan Curley for this
CPI increase impact on mortgage rates. See how we learn. Increase in the consumer price index generally puts upward pressure on mortgage rates.
Okay, maybe I was thinking of unemployment.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So when inflation is growing, we want to curb inflation. We want to slow down. We want to increase Fed rates, which is going to slow down spending in the market, get a little bit of market traction, as we call it. We don't want to get it away from us. Think of it like a snowball rolling down the hill. We don't want that snowball to go too quickly. We want to kind of slow it down and slow down the traction that it has.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so what is it going to mean for real estate? What is it going to mean for your market? And of course, what is it going to mean for home buyers and sellers here in Baltimore?
I mean, I think depending on where the rates actually will fall, I don't really think we'll see much of a change.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think what I have come to learn in the last, I'd say, 2 years of tracking the market is the mortgage companies, the mortgage brokers, the lending institutions are establishing interest rate kind of variances based on what they're anticipating.
Right.
So when we see like a big drop in a Fed rate, well, they were already anticipating it. Right. So yeah, the Fed came out and said, oh, woo, we have this change of rate, high, lower, whatever. But the lending institutions are already planning that rate change.
For sure.
So we don't see that much of an impact. And especially in our market where we're not spending, $3, $5, $7 million. We're not borrowing millions of dollars at a time. We're borrowing 300, 500, 700,000. It doesn't make quite as much of an impact for the buyers that we're working with.
Yeah, I'd also piggyback, not even just on the financial aspect, which you are right about, but I think our location I don't even say location on the East Coast, but like who we are, what we are as a market.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to say like, oh, what could take us down, right? But like, so many people moving here, so many people selling. Like, it's so come and go, like with military, government contractors. It's tough to not have a thriving real estate market here.
Yeah. I think I like to tell people that we're like a blue collar community. Not that it's necessarily like the truism by definition, but what I think of as a blue collar community is people that work every day. People that are putting their boots to the ground every day. They have to go to work. They have to make their rent. They have to make their mortgage payments. They're not living off of assets and wellness. They're not living off of retirement and investments. Not to say that there's no retirees here, but the people that are churning our real estate market are first-time home buyers, move-up buyers generating family and growing their lifestyle, not people that have come into flush with cash from a SpaceX IPO.
Yeah, what is up with that? Any insight on that?
These are those moments where like I wish that I was into tech and I was like a computer science nerd.
All that I've read is that, I mean, it's kind of on topic of inflation, but that this SpaceX going public, let's say the price is yay high. So many people are going to buy at that. And then at some point it's going to dip down just because the demand isn't as high.
Yeah, excitement.
Yeah.
Well, and think about who cashes out on an IPO.
All the investors?
Well, all the people that have been working there prior to it being public, right? So anyone who's invested time, money, or asset, they're making their payout there. And where are they getting their payout from? All the people that get excited about the company.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any real benefit to buying at the initial public offering, but from what I understand well enough, it's not the most lucrative time to buy most of the time. So sure, maybe 25 or 30% of the time you buy at $135 a share, which is what SpaceX was offered at pre-market, but you buy...
It was at 155.
Well, see, SpaceX did this thing where they offered it pre-market. Before it went IPO, you could buy it like an exclusive sale at 135.
Okay.
So like those people, sure, there's a situation, a 25% chance that those people close at the end of the day at $170, $200, $300 a share. But the other 75% of the time, those people end up walking away closing at 90 and 87 and so on and so forth.
Right.
So it's a gamble. And I think people enjoy being a part of something more than anything, which ironically is what I think feeds our real estate market in general, is people being a part of something, that belief in that ownership right that we have in America that's not a true right in other countries or attainable, let alone.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree. I like your idea of like everyone that's here is like boots on the ground, working, keeping the wheel turning for the cities or the towns that we have here. And that is true. Yeah. I think that is very true. I also think that like we have so many like mini markets, especially when you look at the surrounding DC area, you look at the surrounding Baltimore area, there's so many that would be considered like a suburb of DC. You take Calvert County, for example, which is still like 30, 40 minutes out. Yeah. And they're considering that a big suburb of DC now, and people are moving out that way. So again, these reaches to some of these bigger cities, at least around in our area, I mean, people are willing to drive and still seeing the benefit of their pay from work, but purchasing a home that they can afford, loving the quality of life. So I think Maryland has a lot to offer, as to where, again, going back to my initial thought, is like, what would stop us
from?
Well, everything that people like want. I don't say everything that people want, but like there's people that are like, oh, market's going to crash. Oh, these houses are too damn expensive. Like, help me understand. These houses that are listed, getting multiple offers, we still have quite a bit of activity. So, like, you don't think it's worth it. Everybody else does.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest challenge for inflation is to position yourself for success, right? And for those people that don't own a home, they have no opportunity to grow. They're not invested in the real estate market. They're not invested in the stock market in a sizable capacity, right? And remember, again, what we're talking about here is you can invest $10,000 or $20,000 in the stock market, and that can be a great investment, but you're not going to see a huge return until you start to see, I don't know, 25 and 35 and 40% returns on that $20,000. If you had $300,000, $500,000, $700,000 and you were able to dump it into the stock market and see a 3% or a 7% return, that's a lot of money quickly. Mm-hmm. By percentage, it's a smaller percent, but it's a lot of money really, really quickly. And what people don't understand is that by buying into a real estate market, whether it's a good market, a bad market, a happy market, a sad market, a balanced market, a buyer's market, a seller's market, it doesn't matter, but you're going to be able to take your small investment of $10,000 or $20,000, which is your down payment, your closing costs, and any other expenses. Heaven forbid you use a grant program or down payment assistance or all these other things that we've talked about, but you're going to be able to use those programs and that small amount of money to leverage to buy that $500,000 house. And now all of a sudden you can benefit from the large investment without having to have it.
Right.
And so when I hear people talk about the scarcity of real estate and how it's a bad market, or inflation is going up and the market is coming down and all of these other things, it's like, well, okay, well, what are you going to do over the next 3 years to position yourself for success? Because if you buy this house for $500,000 and there's a modest growth in your value over 3 years, you're going to be talking about taking away $548,000 over a 3% growth year over year. Yeah. So help me understand, because what I see is opportunity. What do you see?
Well, a real world example of this, picking on my friend Steven, he's been looking in the market for, 6 years now, basically ever since I got into real estate. And we walked into a property around that time, and they loved the home. Him and his now wife. It's like, hey, like, you guys should write an offer on this property. Like, you really like it, yada yada yada. It's not going to be here come Monday, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm going to look around. It's not going to. It'll be there. Like, we'll take our time with it.
Yep.
I'm like, look, man. Like, I'm telling you now, it's not going to be there. And let's just say the property was on the market for $425 at this time. Goes under contract. I give him a call. I'm like, hey, man, they accepted an offer. He's like, oh, what the. I should have wrote off on that. I can't believe it. Blah blah blah. I'm like, yeah, man, but like I told you that we had this conversation many times. So it is what it is. 3 years later, that same property comes back to market. It might have even been 4 years later, but nonetheless, same thing. And instead of it being listed for $425, it's now listed for $450. And I'm like, now again, 3 years later, coming to present time, I wonder, like, if that home were to come back a third time, and he did the same thing. He never wrote an offer. He's like, oh, wait, I'll see what's just happening. It's not going to sell. And at $450, gone.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder where it would be at today. $475, $480,
Yeah.
$500. What are we pushing here? So I look at him like, if you're on the fence, you have the opportunity to get into the market now and see those benefits of everything increasing, see the equity go up, see the values go up. So it's just something to take in consideration. Like, I've really been, hammering this with a lot of my clients lately, but it's been a topic of conversation. It's about getting your foot in the door as early as you can.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting as we talk about people like Steven, putting things on hold and waiting for rates to fall or other considerations like the fear of the future. One of the questions here was, with the markets already pricing in where they anticipate the Federal Reserve rates to go. If they're already building in the price rate hike, interest rates are going to go up and not down. If they're already building in the price rate fall, interest rates are going to come down. Well, how do you explain that to a client that might think, oh, well, I'm going to wait for rates to come down? If they're already building that in.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a challenge between media now and the people actually living it and doing it, right? Because we had these conversations 2 weeks beforehand, a week beforehand with our lenders saying, hey, this is going to happen. And then it's already really happening at that point. Mm-hmm. Media doesn't announce it until, let's say, the Fed might meet or this meeting is.
Right.
And then it's blasted all over headlines. And then people are like, oh, interest rates are going up, like, yada, yada. And so then, I mean, me and you, we've been experiencing this for the past 2 or 3 weeks. And then the media makes it a big thing. And then these consumers that want to purchase a home, get up in arms about it. I'm like, well, hold on. Let's take this back a bit. This has already been introduced to the market and we haven't seen any change.
Yeah.
So how much is it truly affecting you? And let's talk about a 0.25% interest rate hike. I mean, what does it change your monthly payment?
Yeah.
Minimal, right? So in our reality, if we're not, I mean, let's say we're at a market rate of 6% and we go up to 6.25 or 6.25, we go up to 6.5. It's changing minimally. And the only time maybe that you should be up in arms, or I wouldn't blame you if you are, is if we go from, let's say, 6% to 9 or to 10 or something crazy, right? But these like little things of like dollars and cents, I find it to be the same energy as when, either a buyer's walking through the property and nickel and diming a property on like its conditions. Like, yeah, we knew that door handle was loose. I'll bring the screwdriver over. Or the same thing with the seller, nickel and diming a buyer with their offer. It's like, well, no, like, here's what we expect in our market, right? Like, I look at those things the same way, but I don't know, maybe that's kind of how I describe it to the consumer.
Well, and I think to myself, as you were mentioning, like, oh, let's not talk about it until rates go to like 8 or 9, right? When we were at 3% rates and all of a sudden it went to 5 or 6 or whatever the numbers were, and real estate agents had this saying that was, marry the house, date the rate. And the concept was that you could buy a house and you could refinance when the rates fall back down. But I think to myself, how many people bought, let's just use the timeline of 2024. Let's just say that was the window of time. I don't know. Okay. How many people bought in 2024 at a 5.5% rate or whatever the rate were at that time versus the people that have sat on the sidelines like Steven. And where is their financial wellness? Where is their equity build? Where is their net worth?
It's probably night and day.
I mean for sure it is.
At least probably, depending on the price point you're
if
at.
Somebody bought a property,
if
somebody bought a property for $400,000 3 years ago and they saw average market increase of like 3.5%, 400,000, 3.5%, you're talking like 12,000, 13,000 every year. So if they turn that into a $37,000, $38,000, $39,000 equity plus principal pay down, plus they bought it 5.5%, and now we're sitting on 6.5% or 6.25% or 6% or whatever your circumstance is. But we're not getting into a lower rate, environment. Thank you. That's the word that I was searching for. So I think to myself, like, real estate is that inflation hedge. Real estate is that thing that gives you that confidence to know that you're going to continue to see growth because of supply and demand. I mean, simply put, you can't buy, X amount of SpaceX IPO stock because you don't have enough money.
Yeah.
Right. And once the demand slows for the SpaceX stock, the supply is going to lower in value. But the difference is that there's an incalculable amount of demand at the time that it goes IPO, right. And then the demand falls, and all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I'll buy that other stock, or this is sexy, or that's fun, or whoever. Real estate is a location, it's a style, it's a color, it's a shape, it's a feeling. It's not just a stock.
Yeah.
It's so inflation ready, and for the last 80 years, it's been the greatest investment in real estate, in the U.S. market. But unless you're one of those few random people that just became a 100 millionaire from a SpaceX IPO, in which case I want to talk to you.
I want to talk to you too. I'll buy you coffee. I'll buy you whatever you want.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, as we look ahead to the rest of this year, and as we look ahead to maybe 2027, we're about halfway through the year now.
It's crazy.
What scenario do you see that would change? And under what scenario do you see nothing will change? And when I say nothing will change while you're thinking, what I mean is we will continue on status quo. Our rates will stay roughly the same, 6.25%, 6.5%. Our providership or our support programs will stay roughly the same, providing down payment assistance and first-time home buyer credits and creating opportunities for buyers to become homeowners. When I say nothing will change, I mean the market will continue to supply the adequate amount of supply that we have to keep the balance of supply and demand that we have today. So what scenario would change, and what would it look like for nothing to change over the course of the next 6 months or even 2 years?
Nothing to change. I mean, I think we stay again within the rates that we've been talking about. Let's just say under 7, but between 5.5 and 7. I don't think anything's really going to change.
Okay.
Even if inflation goes up a little bit or these rates go up a little, like I just don't see a world where it changes. If it does change what is going on in the world, I mean, I think we got bigger problems than a 7% rate if things are changing.
Yeah.
Like that, like it would have to take, I think, something catastrophic, at least for our market, because you look at all the headlines of people losing their jobs in DC, that didn't change anything for us. Right. So like if it wasn't that, if it's not any conflict with Iran, if it's not this, rates going up by 0.25% or 0.5%, however you pronounce it.
What scenario would impact?
The only thing that I can truly think of is like greater, like world war, where it's like something that we haven't seen in a long time. But like,
I don't disagree with you. I think even that would have a challenge to impact our market.
Yeah, I mean, especially our market. Like I look at our market. The
thing that I see that would absolutely change our market is if sellers suck up and stop getting involved, right? And what I mean is for those sellers that might have put things on hold in 2019 and then COVID came along and they got, furthered or they lengthened their time to hold. And then in 2022, when the market was coming back, they just weren't that motivated. They weren't, hey, I'm just going to wait. I'm going to stay put. And then in 2025, they started thinking about it. And then all of a sudden this war in Iran happened. And now we're here. And then the inflation rate and all these other things. And sellers continue to stay on the sidelines. And what I mean is
that completely halts, like seller activity halts.
I think if seller activity halts, we're in the biggest crisis that we will see. And what I mean is that sellers, in lieu of buying that vacation home turned into a primary residence, tax haven states, things of that nature, in lieu of selling that house that they've been holding on to and the memories and the families that they've been cherishing for years, they fail to list their property and take that next step. In lieu of sellers maybe downsizing to going to something like the Harbor View Marina or otherwise, where we have beautiful property that doesn't have to be like a quote unquote elder care, right? We don't need that.
Yeah.
But if we have sellers that are holding on to all of the valued properties all throughout Odenton and Parkville and Bel Air and even Calvert County, Frederick, all of the areas that we service, if we really have sellers that suck up and just say, you know what, we're not going to move, because we don't have to, because rates are higher than we would like it to be, because inflation, because of whatever other fear that they have, then I could start to see our market growing again like wildfire.
Yeah, I was going to say any seller that does come to the market at that point would basically be someone benefiting from the SpaceX IPO.
Right. And I think for buyers in the market, it would have to be a wild change, because what we're seeing is that renter values are going up through the roof. A renter increase was something like 3.4% year over year, which is pretty high. See if this is in here. It's in here somewhere. Sorry. Reading. Nope, of course I don't have it right at my fingertips. I should. But at any rate, we're seeing rentals increase, and it's creating more challenge for for non-buyers, for the renters that are just staying in their homes. 3.4%, I was correct. But what we're going to start to see is that if all of a sudden real estate prices drive, well, then it drives the monthly rates, it drives the monthly rental market, and it drives, again, what we saw happen in 2020. Yeah. And the biggest challenge for buyers will be kind of being stuck in between, do I rent at this really high rate, or do I find a way to overcome the objection of down payment and closing costs, which we know is doable, but it's more so the education that we have to provide them. And by the way, while we're on the same topic, if rates go up, we still have another challenge of sellers, because those people that are sitting on 3 and 4 and 5% rates that don't want to come back into the market at 6 and 7 and 8% rates, we start to really see this challenge. So I do think that it all relies on the sellers.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I think it's safe to say that this is like normal for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I would anticipate that once we come off of this springtime high and we get into the summer and we really see the swing of things, we're going to see a normal year. We're going to see normal rate increase. We're going to see normal market appreciation for those of us that currently own property. We're going to see growth, and that's amazing. But we need people that are going to take that growth and parlay it into a bigger investment. I just had someone message me on Instagram over the weekend about how they're sitting on a 3% rate and they don't want to let it go. Like, why do you care? Let's buy a bigger house. Let's invest into your future. Let's get you a second home, right? Let's double down on your investment, because it's the market appreciation that grows your value, not your low interest rate. Caption that.
Yeah. Not to go into too much detail about someone's situation, but nonetheless, we'll just leave it at that.
Leave it at that.
Story for a different time.
Well, with so much going on, we know that there's a lot of demand. You mentioned it. There's a lot of kind of like newsroom demand pulling for our attention, vying for our attention, and saying, rates and consumer price index and market rates and inflation rates and mortgage rates. And this is all bad, because bad is what sells news, right? But if you guys do have any questions, you know where to reach out to us, because I think sitting down and getting a benchmark with your real estate professional is really the key. Getting that valuation and understanding exactly where we're going is what we need to put in front of you. So if you guys do have questions, feel free to reach out to myself, Christian, or any other agent on our team. We'd love to help you out in the future. You know where to reach me on Instagram at Michael.Frank____. And you can reach Christian at Christian the Goosehead.
Christian the Deadhead.
Christian the Deadhead. One day we'll make him change it over.
I don't think it'll ever change.
It'll happen.
I don't think so.
It'll happen. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching. For more information on the housing market, Real Estate 101, how you can leverage your position in today's market, and so much more, click on the link below. If you like this video or have a burning real estate question you'd like us to answer, leave us a comment and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode, and we'll see you again real soon.